let's start this off. Hey there, welcome to Geeks with Kids, the internet's geekiest podcast that sometimes remembers to give a parenting point of view. Sometimes, I'm your host this episode, Eric, and joining me this week is Marcus, Steve, and a returning David. Hello, guys. How's it going?
Mark, David.
Amazing, cromulent.
Cromulent.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should just end right there.
Yeah. I was going to say I have nothing to say now.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
And have a good one.
I was feeling pretty embiggened after that, but
Dave was graciously on our was it a good attempt at a Watch Dogs franchise review?
I thought it was all right.
I thought it was pretty funny. We ended up streaming on Twitch, us playing. Like we were all streaming the game while just chatting. But
in the same game or different games?
Different games. Mm. But because I get distracted while playing, I just be like playing and be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then we'd go like, oh yeah, what were we talking about again? Yeah.
That is the peril of live gameplay, yeah.
Yeah. So Ubisoft, thank you for listening. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that makes for an interesting show though.
Yeah. It all the highlights are on Twitch, so you should definitely check it out. I don't know if I highlighted it, but our video's still up for another couple weeks. It is Monday, November 9th. See, I did it right this time. And we are coming to you live on twitch.tv/geekswithkids. You can definitely catch us live every other Monday when we record our live show, and every Wednesday when we decide to play D&D. When we decide, yeah. Speaking of D&D, I don't know if you heard, but Anthony Rapp and some of the cast of Star Trek Discovery actually started a D&D game just a couple weeks ago, and they're sort of debating whether they're going to put it online one day. So
they'll put it online.
They'll put it actors, right?
Yeah.
That'd be
in the days of COVID. They'll put it online.
Yeah. So, like we start every episode, we check in with these fine folks and ask them, "What's good? What are you enjoying right now?"
Oh no.
Let's start with Steve. Hi, Steve. Because you were so happy when I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been working on my bathtub, so I can't think beyond this stupid job I've been working on. It's not even a job. It's something I've been dragging my butt on. So the usual, I've been playing some Vermintide. I've been listening to audiobooks, and I'm not very exciting, but my bathroom caulking is done. So
and
there you go.
Was it professionally done by you?
It was done by me.
Fair enough. And I know you've been going through some microphone issues. How's that been going?
I don't know. Are you guys picking up some nice tunes right now, or?
So far, it's quiet.
I can hear a little bit of something.
I want a little EDM to pop in or something.
Okay.
What was the last thing?
On it.
When we were recording last time, what was like D&D?
I can't remember.
There was a song, like full up songs that we were.
Wasn't there? Not Britney Spears, but something like or Taylor Swift,
like Ariana Grande or something.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande.
I
I
can't hear it, so I mean it's all whatever you guys. Although we actually identified the station, I should have written it down.
Oh,
ABBL. That's from The Simpsons.
I want the elephant.
Yeah, just take the money, kid, not the elephant.
Nobody takes the elephant. It's a joke prize. I want my elephant.
Let's move on down the row. Marcus, what are you up to? What are you liking? What are you?
Right now, there's not too much going on except I'm in the middle of moving stuff and buying a new house. So that's a very busy time for me. But I have been making time to watch The Mandalorian, and I love me The Mandalorian. I'm just so happy with everything they're doing in that show, and thus like their expanding of the Star Wars universe. They're just like enriching everything that we've already learned and just making things better and fixing things that were problems from before. It's great. Aside from that, I've been at work. I've been listening to a new podcast called Tannis, and it's been pretty cool. I kind of wanted something that was kind of mystical and almost mysterious, but I also wanted like a little bit of factual history as well. And this was like a perfect docudrama that blends real life history and actual accounts to this like ongoing story that the guy has created, and I love the story. It's been fantastic. I'm gonna check out a few more of their podcasts.
Excuse me while I Google that.
Yeah. Do it.
So
worth a Google, worth a checkout. Free advertising for them, and if they want to advertise for us one day,
Yeah.
Just shooting it out there.
Are you? Has everyone here watched Mando this season?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Have you finished the first season?
Ghosty. No, I haven't.
Oh,
I know.
missing out.
I have problems.
It's been almost a
It's
year.
all good. It's all good.
I'll get to it.
Is it though? Is it?
No.
Spoilers. There's Mandalorian in it.
And
Damn it.
a baby Yoda. One might
Baby
say.
So that's what that's all about.
Yeah.
They just
Like eggs.
Oh, yeah. That
Like
was a little
eggs.
weird. That was a little weird, wasn't it?
I feel
No,
like I
it's
feel
totally normal.
like that's going to be a plot point. I feel like there's got to be a little bit more to that, or at least like it's there to show us that this cute little creature has a darker, mean kind of.
Things eat other things.
They
Yeah.
do.
It's
I
just
feel-
a
I
circle
feel
of
like-
life.
Well, I mean, in the previous season. Sorry, Steve, if you haven't seen this part, right? But like in the previous season, there's been a few moments where like that little Yoda child has kind of been a little bit dark. Like, you saw him kind of doing like the dark force using a little bit, and you're like, ooh. So maybe it's just kind of trying to show that this thing has not really chosen a side, or we're not 100% in the good, we're not 100% in the bad.
Sure, fair enough.
Steve, did you ever read any of the bad connection books in the
No,
Disney
of
era?
course not. Why would I read anything
I was
about
just
Disney?
wondering. Sometimes you read things, and I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
So-
Fair enough.
So
But I have zero interest in Disney Star Wars.
that's fair. So remember how they had the Aftermath series for
didn't that
Star Wars?
get retconned basically?
No. Those are still that's part of the episode 7 stuff.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
the lead up to 7. Yes.
Yeah. So the first one, I think the first book of Aftermath, there's this little secondary character that appeared in like, I want to say 3 chapters, just like sparingly. His
Sure.
name is Cobb Vanth, and you
Okay.
see him as a main character in the first episode of the second season.
Oh,
No, that's not bad.
It's
because
great.
they sort of
Okay.
retconned the book, but it was sort of the same.
Yeah, that's
as
what I
the book.
just said. They're retconning the books already.
By retcon, it was like, when someone tells a story and they change some of the details, it was pretty
Sure.
much the same story, but he changed some of the details when he was telling.
Oh,
the story.
okay. So they're fixing the travesty that was.
But, like,
Or
this-
it's just
slowly.
an unreliable narrator, like the Joker film.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
No, that would be if they knew what they were doing, that would be the explanation. So
Yeah.
I think Mando knows what it's doing.
I think Mando. Yeah, I was gonna say. Although the first 2, I thought the second episode was gonna deal with the character we see at the end of episode 1, but
Yeah,
they just sort of just left him alone. I was like, okay. I
But
guess that's
they
cool.
did that in the first season too. There was like these huge cliffhangers, and then like you don't see anything for like 2 episodes, and you're like, what the
That's
hell?
fair. That's fair.
It's like
So-
they're airing it out of order, like Firefly.
Yeah.
No,
I miss
no.
Firefly.
Why, it's so sad. But we got a Western in space right now, and it's Mando.
Yeah.
Dave, what are you liking right now? What is your yum?
So this very night,
Damn
I
it.
got my girlfriend to watch Speed for the first time. She'd never seen the
Oh
whole.
yes.
I want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You hadn't seen the whole movie. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to read your book.
She
Read your
saw
book.
she saw part of it.
She's like, I'd seen some of it. I'm like, you haven't seen the whole movie. It's perfect 90s action movie.
As long as you see
100%.
that bus jump that ridiculous ramp, even though
50
it's not
feet.
there the first second, like
with
That-
basically no incline. A
no
city
incline
bus
whatsoever.
goes
that city
50
bus
more than
somehow-
50 feet at 70 miles an hour
With passengers on
with
it.
With
passengers. Yep. Yep.
Everyone to the back of the bus.
No,
I'm glad Mythbusters did something on that.
Oh,
so that
it's so good though. That's where the pop quiz hot shot came from.
Yep.
Also, I mean, I personally love me Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Dennis
Yeah.
Hopper is a fantastic actor. I miss him every day, and he was such an impressive force in that movie. Like
Yeah,
he was
he's-
terrifying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
loved him.
Yeah.
Agreed. That whole
Um,
cast was incredible.
Yeah, it was
Incredible,
a
all of
fun
them.
movie.
And
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was tight.
we know our love of Keanu, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Keanu?
I love Keanu.
I've been playing some Civ 6.
Cool.
I don't know
Helping
why.
you sleep.
No.
No.
Those
Melatonin's
matches
not
last so
working.
long.
It's not working.
Really, it's
obviously.
not?
I gotta
Oh
take
damn!
more.
I was gonna buy some this week.
I get it. Well, I'm only taking half. Whatever. I'll just start taking more. But yeah, Civ's, it's been fun. I don't feel like I've been doing anything. And writing D&D
We
just like
appreciate that as
that
you
nonstop. Not for
Yes.
you. Not,
As you
not for
should.
Wednesday's game.
Oh, damn it.
Oh.
No,
Damn
one
it.
of my other three games.
Fine, that's cool. We
Yeah,
don't
it's-
appreciate
it's
it.
you
then.
The
you just gotta
legit
follow
games.
you just gotta follow your spark. So if I'm not sparked for a Wednesday game writing, then I just go with, because it's not gonna feel inspired otherwise. It's not gonna be as cool if I don't just
That's fair.
follow
That's
that.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day we'll leave that like a 5-foot radius from where we started that in a game.
You're like 80
Unlikely.
miles. You also started technically before the show started. You were also like at 5,000 miles to the south.
That's when we were more motivated.
Yeah.
Now you're trudging through the snow. You don't like it.
No, we don't. Except for Sen, who gets right on top of the snow because he's an elf.
Well, elves are special.
So for me, I guess the last couple of weeks I've been watching a lot of random movies. I saw New Mutants recently, which was
Yeah.
I was gonna talk to Matt more about it, but he's not here. And then I saw the witch, no, not the witch, the Craft Legacy, which was
Right.
it was all right. And then I saw the
Yeah.
Witches remake, which is
Don't
not good.
don't.
Yeah.
Wasn't good. Did you end up watching it?
So I watched
Wow.
10 minutes. I think
That was the good 10 minutes.
I was not happy. I was not happy. I turned it off.
You should watch it till the end because
I
the
can't.
the end of it makes me think that they're trying to make a connected Roald Dahl
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah,
Well, that's fine
everything's-
as long as
No,
they,
it's not. It's not fine.
It's fine if they don't do this movie again, or if they don't like
They
Maybe
took
it'll be
out
a Snyder cut. It'll be better.
they took out the scariest part of the original movie, which was that girl in
the painting.
which they took out for some
Yeah.
reason.
So what's the point?
No, David.
Sorry.
That-
Yeah. So you haven't set the source audio for the rest of us into Twitch, into
What?
OBS, so Twitch doesn't hear the rest of us talk.
Oh, awesome! There we go. How about that?
Oh, it's happening again.
Thanks for checking
I thought I heard you on this.
You can hear us,
No, I meant on my phone.
but you probably heard yourself.
Oh my god. Thanks, Shows, for letting us know.
Yeah.
So-
Thanks for letting us know now.
Luckily, I had talked to Thingy. I'm recording it separately, so I'll put that in the shit again.
This is
It
where you should
shouldn't-
start. So this is where you should start. Highlight this, and then like you can like cut through Twitch. You can like highlight,
Yeah.
then you can like export that to YouTube and stuff. So you
Yeah.
can just send that out.
Yeah. So anyway,
Just skip the whole what's good, whatever.
the Witches movie, no good. Okay, what's good is I've been playing Watch Dogs Legion, and it's really fun. But
Right.
and this is a big fucking but, Ubisoft. I'm pointing at you right now. This game has crashed so many times on my PC.
Oh,
The last time I played it was Sunday night, and it crashed at least 5 times
no. Oh.
in like 3 hours of play. And you
Damn.
know, so I was doing one mission for a recruitment of an old lady. I was like, I'm gonna get my old lady. I'm
Yeah, you
gonna
gotta get
fucking
the
get
old
my
lady.
old lady finally. And thanks, Shows, for coming on. And I'm doing this mission and it crashes, and so I'm like, okay, where's it gonna start? Oh, the beginning of the mission. Start again. Blah blah blah. Okay, crashes. Start again. I did it 3 or 4 times, and then the 4th time I made one fucking mistake, and it ruined the mission, so I can't recruit her. And I was like, no, you didn't crash now? What the fuck? So now you ruined my old lady, Ubisoft.
Wait, so you can't recruit her
I
again?
can't recruit her anymore.
Oh no.
So I have to. Apparently, what I should do is go to an old folks' home, and this is an actual tip, and try and recruit the people there, because apparently a lot of them are like
Well, they're lonely for
they're-
one.
Well,
Yeah.
but they also have a lot of skills that are very good because they're old, and some of them are like retired spies
guilting
and
their
stuff.
children into doing things. Yes.
They just send off all their offspring to do the missions for them. That would be amazing.
Can you go rob a bank for daddy?
I will say that the cars feel so cool because they're all electric cars, and they have
Oh,
the
nice.
electric car sound, and then some of them are self-driving cars. So
Right.
so I expect to steal something and throw a person out, but it's just like an empty car. He's like, oh, I guess I'm stealing this empty car. Cool. And I thought I'd hate the drones and all of that stuff that they, the more futuristic thing a little bit more. Sort of like I didn't like it in Breakpoint. Was that the
Breakpoint, yeah.
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 Ghost
But
Recon.
this one's actually not bad. Plus I've been flying around on a giant heavy lifter drone for like 8
That's
years.
awesome.
That's the best part, being the Green Goblin.
Yeah. Except it's a very
Yeah.
slow green goblin and you're just sitting there like,
Oh,
well,
You
I
don't
guess
want to lose
I'll
your
make-
balance when you're one of those old folks. You don't want to fall and break a hip.
it's true. It's cool, but I have like 15 people part of my team, and it's really quite interesting
Nice.
switching between them. I do find it sort of weird that because you have all these different people, you get attached to like one of them or like a
Sure.
couple of them because those are the ones you use, and the other ones you're like, okay, whatever. But it's cool that you see them around the city. You'll just see your operatives like going to get
nice,
food
nice.
or something like that, or
Do
hanging
they
out at a
level
park.
up? Like, do they get better? Do they get more skills and stuff like that? Or are they kind of just you recruit them and that's it?
So you recruit them, and then everyone has the same base set of skills. So
Okay.
you can use this tech thing and this thing and this thing. Yeah. So that's cool. That's one way of leveling and not having to.
is there a lot of like repeat of like skill sets and stuff?
I don't think.
Like, I mean, you got 15 people in your crew.
Yeah.
Like, are there like multiple tech people, multiple like
Yeah,
brawler people? Like,
so I have some people that are certain types of hackers. Like one of my the one I'm using right now has a long range hacking ability, and then some other stuff. Like she has a seeker drone that just destroys people, which is actually really cool. And then I have an ex spy, and then like a brawler, and then I have football hooligans, which I think is really funny.
Nice,
They start
nice,
little
nice.
riots. And,
sweet.
Little riots.
Yeah.
Nice.
it's really neat because when you take over the boroughs like you do in all the other games, this time the people start fighting back against DedSec.
hooligans?
Not DedSec.
Like, that's not our team.
I was gonna say Bloom. It is Bloom. Those people. Yeah, it's a good game. I really enjoy it. I look forward to continuing to play it unless I get stuck
Unless it keeps crashing.
Unless they better fucking update it. Oh my god, yes.
Yeah. Memo to Ubisoft. You owe Eric a senior citizen.
Dude, and the senior citizen was awesome. I actually have a lawyer on my team that gets people out of
I am a
jail,
lawyer.
which is awesome.
Nice.
So some of my
Really?
people get
Nice.
arrested and then they get them out of jail.
That's
Dude,
that's
this
very
game
powerful.
sounds amazing. It sounds incredibly cool.
I think it's
It just-
it's cool.
I can't wait to play it.
Part of me
It's
wants to be
great.
like, Steve, where's that poster you have of mine? Should be
Oh,
just hold it up somewhere.
It's in the
Yeah.
hall.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's in the hall. I
All
do
right.
have it.
Wait a minute. Steve and Dave are on the wrong side. Let me move.
Yeah,
them
I think it's
around.
because when my video dropped.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Move
This
you
is,
over there. This is
highly
this is this,
professional.
this is what live. This live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
No. So, because this is gonna be a long episode, and I've already rambled on about Watch Dogs for a little bit, we're gonna do a very little amount of news this week.
Yeah.
So this week marks the release of both next-gen console offerings, with the Xbox Series X and S coming out tomorrow, which is the 10th, and the PlayStation 5 coming out on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I think we'll forego anything other than that. I think the initial reviews have been very favorable for both of the systems so far,
Yeah.
and I think the only thing that's really new is that people are saying that the DualSense controller for the PS5 changes how you will play video games. Like,
Yeah.
if you're debating where you want to play something, you're gonna be like, well, this is how I want to play it, which is incredible. And
That's
I have mine, and like I have one sitting around the corner right now, and I just want to try it. I want it to work. I hooked it up to my
Yeah.
PC, and the button's input, but it couldn't do anything. And I was just like, why won't you let me
Yeah.
play, game?
Yeah.
Just let me play. I hooked it up to my Watch Dogs. It's like, and it did nothing. It just
Oh.
it made me so sad.
Yeah, I'm getting hyped. I was kind of like trying to keep it all contained, don't look up stuff, but yeah, it's getting close. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be
Yeah.
nice.
Yep. So how do I spell shows? X.
I'm keeping my hype levels low because I'm not getting a launch one.
You're not. Are you waiting till?
I got to
after-
launch PS4, and I was very happy, and I still have it, and it works fine.
Yeah, same with me.
But my PC is just in a place right now where I'm like, I would like a PS5, but I can just wait because I want to get a 30 card at some point.
Yeah,
and that'll basically cost a PS5.
Yeah.
So
or
for
more.
yeah.
I'm
well, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I'm upgrading my computer, but because I can't find any new Ryzen cards or Ryzen CPUs, I have to wait. So that's good. I'm just gonna spend money over somewhere else until I can find the cards. Well, not the cards, the chips. Good lord. And then I rebuild, and maybe I'll stream it. Who knows? We'll see. I like doing that. I think I'm gonna stream the unboxing of the PS5 like as soon as I get it.
Nice.
Do it.
And then maybe Marcus and Steve, you guys are getting it on Thursday, right? Maybe we'll do something this weekend. I know Shuss is also getting it, so maybe we'll bring him on and we'll talk about it and our initial impressions. And be like, look at these controllers, they're so
yeah,
I can't wait to feel it all and just the smell, the look.
Oh man.
One thing?
Yeah, go for it, Steve.
I was gonna say one thing, it's really big. So
I don't know where I'm gonna put it.
Yeah,
I'm so lost.
Yeah, so I always put mine sideways, but this one is aesthetically designed to be standing up, and it is really tall.
It's
so
tall.
That's just something we're gonna have to make room for.
It's funny because I have my PS4 and I'm unplugging it probably tomorrow to bring it upstairs, and I don't think it'll fit in the spot that I have the PS4.
Yeah, I know.
Sucks.
I'm looking at it now. I don't.
That's what I'm worried about with mine.
So
I couldn't fit mine where my PS4 is for sure.
I don't know what to do, and I'm definitely not putting it in my entertainment unit because it'll overheat.
Sure.
Yeah. I have 2 PS4s, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my PS4s right now because I only have the one TV right now. And
you know what you have to do. You mount it to your bathroom, and you put a TV in there.
You're a bad person.
Yes. Oh.
I was gonna say you get a third PS4 and then you put them in a blender together, and then out comes PS like 6.5.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Amazing computing power.
The one
how we compute.
The one other piece of news that I will talk about is on November 1st, video game developer Ubisoft announced that it has partnered with Netflix to create a live-action adaptation of the Assassin's Creed franchise. And it is coming out sometime. There's no timeline because, COVID times. Plus, they're also working with Netflix to do the Division movie. And there's like a Splinter Cell cartoon and all this other stuff. Plus, they have their live action. That talking is from Steve, if you're wondering. that random audio.
I was like looking around, like, is someone upstairs?
It's randomly Steve. But yeah, there it is. So, thoughts on this series?
I actually hadn't heard about that. It doesn't have any connection with the movies, or are they just making their own?
They said it's just a live action adaptation. They didn't say what it is, and apparently the movie is considered canon. So
okay, all right. Well,
I'd be down with seeing him again. I love Michael Fassbender.
Well, no, Michael Fassbender was great, and honestly, like the movie wasn't horrible, and like I think there were issues with it, but I would totally love to see Michael Fassbender come back, and I would love to see like other casting choices and see like other assassin characters, and
we'll chat about this movie.
Yeah, we're gonna get to this, so
because
we might as well.
Wait, did anyone have final thoughts on that Netflix thing, David?
As long as it holds up to, I'd say, the quality of The Witcher, I think it'll be good. I also think that Assassin's Creed is better suited to a series than it is a single movie.
I agree.
There's a lot in it, so I think it's better as a series.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, the thing is, the story. Well, we're gonna start talking about it when we actually get to the topic. But on the topic of the other Netflix deals, I think a Splinter Cell cartoon. Did you say was going to be animated? That sounds like a lot of fun. And a Division show, like right now, really? I don't know. I mean, I know. Didn't play. I actually passed on the Division 2 because I was so depressed about what was happening in the real world politically,
and then it happened
later with actual pandemics, right? So I find the timing of Division.
They announced that last year, though. It was a movie with
Okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain as the lead actors.
Why does Jake Gyllenhaal always choose like projects that are like kind of depressing and upsetting?
I think Ubisoft just has him because of the Prince of Persia movie.
Oh, thank God about that nuts.
You owe us.
You owe us.
Like it was somehow his fault.
We're actually going to
It
talk
was
about Prince
supposed
of
to be
Persia
so great.
in a bit, in a second.
Okay.
So, this episode, we're going to be talking about the Assassin's Creed franchise, which is an open-world action adventure stealth video game created by Ubisoft. It was originally created by Patrice Desilets, Jade Raymond, and Corey Mays. We actually got to listen to Patrice talk, me and Steve, last year, and he's a fascinating person.
Yeah,
like,
he's a really neat guy.
So this series depicts a fictional millennia-old struggle between the assassins who fight to protect free will and the Templars who desire peace through order and control. The series intertwines historical fiction and science fiction while using real-world historical events and figures. I said world really funny there. World. The game was actually created out of the leftover ideas for a sequel to Ubisoft's amazing Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time game. Ooh, I hear music from Steve. So in this episode,
we're gonna a new mic soon, guys. Don't worry.
So this episode, we're gonna actually talk about the main entries of the series and the film. So sorry for all you fans of Rebellion and Chronicles and all those portable versions of the games, because we're not talking about them. There's too many. There's way too many.
Yeah.
So let's start this off with how familiar you are with the Assassin's Creed series. What game brought you into the series, and do you remember hearing about the franchise for the first time? Let's start with Steve.
Oh, okay. Well,
and how big of an Assassin's Creed fan are you?
I don't know. I'm interested to see when you guys like pull out all your merch, but I was pretty big into Assassin's Creed for a while there. I was getting the T-shirts. Actually, I've got one on right now. This is my digital Ezio. Yeah. Oh, very nice. You got the actual hoodie. Very good. Yeah, I didn't actually ever get that.
This is the most hated of the assassins. Connor.
Yeah. That's a Connor coat.
Everybody knows.
Oh no. I heard about Assassin's Creed, but I didn't actually play it till I think 2 or Brotherhood. I can't remember which one I actually started on. But with Brotherhood, especially because it introduced this multiplayer. And it was just like this really interesting like mode where you had to pretend to like not really be human, like in a world with other humans. That was my downfall, and I've never recovered from console playing.
It's the original since. Among Us.
Yeah, in a way it was. But yeah, the Brotherhood I think ruined me because I play video games a lot too much now because of that. So anyway, that's also actually the game that introduced me to collector's editions.
Oh no!
So Brotherhood, and then I retroactively went back and I got other ones, and I played Assassin's Creed pretty much every one up until Syndicate, and then I kind of got burnt out. And I'm sure we'll talk about that when we get there. But,
yeah, we will.
Yeah, I've got shirts, I've got all kinds of crap, and we'll do a show and tell in a minute.
What about you, Dave?
So I was super psyched when the original Assassin's Creed was announced for the Xbox 360 and the PS3.
It wasn't announced for the PS3, just the 360.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is more than 10 years ago, isn't it? So
13 years ago.
And then I probably played it 3 years after it came out.
What, it came out on PS3? PS3.
I didn't have a launch.
Yeah.
I didn't have a 360. I didn't have a launch PS. I don't even remember what I played it on. Probably PS3. And I love the original Assassin's Creed. I really enjoyed it. I played almost all the Prince of Persia games, so I loved the sort of free running that they were into. And I loved the social stealth idea. It was like, hey, you can pretend to be like, hide amongst these monks, whatever, stuff like that, hiding in bushes. Now that's in every game, but that was kind of one of the first times. True. And it was, even though Assassin's Creed 1 it was very linear, and it didn't really have a lot of, like choice in how you approach a mission. It was kind of just like climb in and then either fight your way to the guy or sneak around. And then 2 like hooked me. I think I bought the collector's edition of 2. I pre-ordered it, and it's one of my favorite games. Like just hands down 2. Some people aren't huge on video game stories, but I think Assassin's Creed, at least at that time, had some of the best storytelling in video games.
Yeah.
And if you go, if you look at all-time favorite video game characters, most people would probably have Ezio in the top 10 because he's such a great character because you spend so much time with him. And then Revelations, I liked how it kind of wrapped up 1 and 2. You get the whole Ezio trilogy. You get stuff with Altair. And then 3 came out and I was like, I'm good. I don't need American Revolution. I'm Canadian. I don't care. None of this interests me. Black Flag, I was like, it's just more that is it? And then everybody loved it and I didn't get into it. And then I didn't touch anything till pretty much Origins, which
That's a good
quite
one to
like.
come back.
Yeah. And it's fun. I still haven't beaten it though, because there's just it's
so
an Ubisoft game now. And you're like, that's a lot of stuff on that map. But I quite enjoyed exploring the great lighthouse and the great library and just all around fighting crocodiles.
Alexandria is one of my favorite cities to explore.
It's dope.
It's so
and then
good.
I didn't touch Odyssey yet, but I do want to play it, but I don't know. It's just like it's so much time to invest.
That one
and I
especially.
spend more time with Far Cry, I think, is my thing. So
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just been deep into the lore, basic, like all the ancient aliens and stuff like that, which is basically the premise of Assassin's Creed is ancient aliens.
We have a friend of the show that hates ancient aliens. This
the
is
show
Belle.
Or just the idea of it?
No, of our show. Like she hates the idea of ancient aliens. Like she just hates it.
Get into Assassin's
I mean, I think
Creed
it's
because
silly to think that humans. I mean, that's a whole other podcast. But like, humans are smart. They're pretty smart. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've always liked all this stuff. This is right up my. It's history plus aliens plus
I love
RPG.
I love the historical characters they bring in. Marcus, did we do you? We haven't done you yet. Marcus, who are you?
I have been playing since the very first Assassin's Creed game on the Xbox 360, and I still remember it being announced and talked about, and it was just like this open world where you can climb anything as long as it's an inch off of like the ground kind of thing, or like an inch away from a wall. And I just thought to myself, like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. That's all I want to do in my life. Like if you ever knew me as a young Mr. About Town, I would literally climb everything. One of my nicknames was Monkey Boy. I would be climbing
Marcus,
absolutely everything. If
you
I could
still
hang
do
from
that.
it, if I could climb.
I too was called Monkey
Yeah,
Boy.
you still do it.
Yeah. So I mean, like so a video game that allowed me to nourish that side of me was something that I was supremely excited about. And the first game was great, and I loved it. And I thought to myself, I'm like, oh man, this is perfect. The only thing I hated in that one game is like if you fell in the water, you were done. Like you just had popped up and you couldn't go swimming, you couldn't get across.
That was
I hated
water,
that.
yeah.
But then like instantly the second one came out and everything was fixed, everything was perfect, and I was like, this is great. And then I agree with David that like I think it's probably it's the best of the stories that were told. I think it's still to this day my favorite of the characters. Like Ezio was everybody's favorite character, I think.
For sure.
Not everybody's, but I mean, like I loved him. I loved his story, and it felt like you were connected to him better than any other character that they had brought in. But I've played every single Assassin's Creed game that has ever been made. The mobile games, I have played the little small like the China and like all those like little games.
India, Russia,
yeah.
Did
like,
you play the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood game on Facebook that would get you stuff in game?
Yep.
I did actually.
Yeah, I
did.
spent way too much time with that trying to
Yeah,
stuff.
I farmed that.
It took too long to get good stuff, though. It took way too long. But I mean, I guess that was the point.
I was in high school. It didn't matter.
Yeah. But I've loved every Assassin's Creed iteration except for Unity. I did not like Unity. I played it. I bought the collector's edition hoping for the greatest, newest Assassin's game, and I was sadly disappointed. That one didn't last very long, but every other game has been a good game for me. I mean, there's definitely better ones and worse ones. 3 was good. I liked it, but it's not near my top.
We'll get to each one for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
But all in all, I've loved them all, and every time they just keep hinting at another one, I'm like, yep, I'm there for it.
And they hint at them in other Ubisoft games, so you want to play the other games and be like, ooh, what did they tease? Because I remember seeing the Apple of Eden in Division 1, and and it was for
I remember seeing
Origins. I think they were teasing
in the
Probably,
first Watch Dogs game. I remember there were like billboards or something that you could like walk by, and like they would have like a tear in them, and you would see like a bit of the Assassin's Creed symbol and something, and I'm like, or I think it was Abstergo maybe.
It was
or something.
Abstergo,
Either way,
yeah.
I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, I love
Like
it.
shit like that. I love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I've been a
Big fan.
forever, and I play every single one.
Yeah.
So,
nice,
yeah.
nice.
It is. I can honestly say I think Assassin's Creed is probably my favorite game series that I've ever played, and to this day it still is.
Me and Steve actually had that conversation a number of years ago before you fell off. I don't know if you remember that, Steve. It was before the movie came up, and we were saying how it was one of our favorite franchises.
Yeah, I mean, I think David and Marcus actually like bring up a lot of points. It's all sort of coming back to me. Yeah, the number 2
It's all coming
really
back
moved me
to
because of the
now.
story. But then, yeah, I mean, what Marcus said. Yeah, in terms of the series, despite that I haven't really played it, I can't think of another series that holds as much weight other than maybe Mass Effect. But I played more Assassin's Creed. Like, there's been more Assassin's Creed that overall I enjoyed more. There's just a bit of a stain. That's a whole other story on Mass Effect. But no, I have to say probably that's true.
Mass Effect. Duh! Although I did name my daughter after one of them, so I can't really say anything about
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shepard?
Yeah.
Oh, Rex. Rex,
Rex.
right. Got it. Erdnot Rex.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird your daughter's name was Erdnot.
Change your name to Connor, and then everything will be fine.
Oh,
there we
yeah,
go.
yeah. So for Assassin's Creed, I'm gonna say the first time I remember seeing it was the same as Marcus. It was at E3 where Jade Raymond came out and released that cinematic trailer, and they were saying that that's what it would look like in the game, and I knew it was bullshit.
Yeah.
But they still said it. It was Altair walking through a crowd and going towards this hangman type area, or this is
Right. Yeah.
execution area.
Yes.
I remember seeing it and being like, holy fuck, I need to play this game. Next gen games are so cool. I can't wait for the PS3 and Xbox 360. And then when it came out, I didn't have a 360 because it was console exclusive for about a year or two or something like that. And my buddy Stu, who's a friend of the show, Stu, actually had it. And he's like, yeah, you should come over and play it. So I came over one day and he just gave me the controller, and I was in the middle of like the game. So I didn't know what to do. And I was just like, this game is hard. I don't understand it. It's stupid. So it's sort of, I sort of like, I was just like, oh, whatever. And he's like, no, you give it a chance. So when Assassin's Creed 2 came out, I bought it just right away because Stu's generally good with advice. And I loved it. I fucking love Ezio. I love that trilogy.
Yeah.
I think it's so good. And like everyone else here, it's probably one of the best trilogy of video games ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm a pretty big fan. Like, I've played every single one, including Chronicles and all the stupid mobile games. I have a Vita because and as soon as I got my
me
Vita,
too.
I got the Assassin's Creed game for it, even though it ended up coming out on PS4 as well. But,
that reminds me. Well, keep talking.
I'll keep going. And I love this game. Like, if I was Steve, I would own all of the blades like he had and all this stuff. I would love to, but small children like to throw stuff like that at me, which is painful. I want to know what he has. It looks like a giant rock.
It's a Vita case.
Oh, okay.
Dusty
Oh
Vita.
yeah.
Does anyone have a Vita charger I can borrow? Because I broke my cable apparently.
I do have a. Do you have a?
So
Do you
I
have...
branded my Vita. This is how much of it.
Abstergo.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have the OG black Vita.
I have the same chargers. I'll let you borrow mine one day.
Damn.
Yeah, I
Just-
waited.
just
I
charge
waited
it.
to get a white one just so I could get the sticker that would match.
But those
That's
are the
all.
bad guys.
What are you talking about? We went Law and Order.
They're all good from a
Let
point of
chaos
view.
reign. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
Everything is permitted.
I don't know if you noticed, but that's my boy right there. He doesn't work for Abstergo. He's an assassin.
I will give you a
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
a
that.
controversial thing. I think as much as I love Ezio, and he is definitely my favorite, I think a close second is Edward Kenway. He's one of my
Of course.
favorite. I love Assassin's Creed 4.
I loved Kenway. I thought he was fantastic.
Great assassin, terrible father.
This is true.
True.
These are all true facts.
True.
Sorry, I gotta
Although
turn off
I
this.
might argue his son was an even worse father. I mean,
I
Yes.
didn't know Connor had kids.
Not Connor. Edward
Kenway.
Kenway. Kenway had kids.
Crazy. Oh, that's his grandfather. That's Connor's grandfather, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay,
Connor's
yeah.
the grandson of.
Because Edward is an assassin, and then his son is a Templar, and then Connor
Yes.
is also an
Yes.
assassin.
Yeah.
That's Assassin's
Right.
Creed Rogue that we get to talk about, right?
Yep.
I mean, by all
Cormac.
accounts, it was an excellent
Danny
game.
McCormick.
I never played it. But let's go back to 2007 when Assassin's Creed was originally released. This game took place in the year 1191 AD, and the Third Crusade was tearing through the Holy Land. As Altair, you intend to stop the hostilities by suppressing both sides of the conflict. You play as a master assassin, a warrior shrouded in secrecy and feared for your own ruthlessness. Now, to be honest, I never beat this game, the first Assassin's Creed, because it came out
me
on
neither.
PS3 way later after Assassin's Creed 2. And going back, like they had fixed so much from Assassin's Creed 2 that I couldn't
Yeah,
play
it's hard
Assassin's
to
Creed
play.
1.
No, that's the truth. Yeah, no, I started on 2. Now I'm very clear now. It was 2 that I started on, and then like when I got into Brotherhood, I was like, oh, I gotta buy everything Assassin's Creed. So I went to a lot of trouble to get this collector's edition of 1. And
What's in that?
I never finished it.
Out of
let's
curiosity.
see. It says collectible Altair figure, which I was joking about at the beginning. When you see the photos, it looks so big, but there he is. There he is. Okay,
Where's
just for
Where's the assassin?
facial reference.
I don't know why are
The
you guys
collect-
laughing? 6 inches is good.
The collector's edition of Cassandra from Odyssey
so
is
much
the size
better.
of my head.
Yes. If this is a 6-inch. Anyway, okay, so let's see what else it says. Mini strategy guide, penny arcade comic, and
Ooh. There's still a thing.
something about bonus content. There's something about a short film and much more. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to open up this box because I don't remember what's in this. But anyway,
Excuse
keep
me
going.
while I dust off my figure because it's literally on my dusty shelf. But Ezio is also about the size. It's about the size of my head. I
That's
think
a
it's
nice
10-inch.
figure.
Yeah, that's
love
the,
it.
I have. That's the one that came in the tin.
The 2, yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
I
I love that figure.
I
That's
miss
one of my
cases
favorites.
like that for collector's editions.
I remember
This is
now. I
the art one.
specifically didn't buy the collector's edition of Brotherhood because it came with the stupid Jack in the Box.
Brother.
That's
You-
what the figure
Was
came
it?
with. It came with a Jack in the
Oh,
Box because the
yeah.
Plague Doctor.
Yeah, the plague.
I-
Dog.
Oh,
You mean
You
that
did?
Jack in
What
the
are you
Box?
talking
That
about,
is
man?
so
There it is.
stupid. Who
There it
wants
is.
that?
This is why you need to watch this podcast
got
on Twitch.
both of them. They're so
Who wants
awesome.
that?
Okay, we're not at Brotherhood yet. Okay, we're gonna talk about that when we
Oh
get
my
there.
God.
We
Oh my
need to
God,
have
it's
a
amazing.
discussion.
Did anyone actually beat
Here's the penny
Assassin's Creed
arcade
out
comic.
of
I
us?
did. Yes,
The
I
first
did.
one.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Yeah.
It's just long.
Like how
The-
how important was the story of that to the follow-up ones? Because you don't really hear from Altair again. Not really.
Until Revelations, yeah.
Until
Yeah,
Revelation.
no, I mean, you could tell that it was like it ended with a cliffhanger. It was like there's more to come. There, like the secrets will be revealed, that kind of thing. So you knew that there were going to be sequels, and you knew there was going to be more to the story. But it was all about just like Desmond dealing with his crap and shit, and like you thought you were going to get this revelation at the end of it and be like, here it is, this is it. But no, they saved that for Revelations.
Yeah. I know you got to meet Kristen Bell in that one, right? That was the one with
Yeah,
Kristen
she was
Yeah.
she's like the girl, the helper
Yeah.
person there,
Yeah.
whatever.
She's your Chloe
someone
from
who helps you.
24. Like she's
Yeah.
the person
Ah,
in
yeah.
the chair, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
person in the chair. What about you, Dave? What did you think of? Because you were one of the ones that beat that.
I enjoyed it because apparently the story is loosely based off of a book, and Al Mualim is pulled almost. He's essentially your mentor, and then the villain of Assassin's Creed 1. He's actually like a secret Templar who's taken over the Assassin Order, even though at that time you think that's what started the Assassin Order because they were the Hashashins. The whole thing, and then you just beat him. He uses the apple of Eden, and you just beat the crap out of him. And you're like, cool. That was a weird boss fight, which you didn't get a lot in that kind of generation
Yeah.
because the game didn't have boss fights. The game had like you just sneak up and you murder someone, and then the game actually had a boss fight at the end. which
You
was-
could kind of negate boss fights in most of the Assassin's Creed games, if you chose to. Kind of,
Yeah,
you could
just
just like,
poison
I'm
them
just
or
gonna
something.
sneak up and wait, and bam, okay, it's done.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in this case, you didn't have a choice, so it was cool. I thought it was cool. And then the cliffhanger, and then I just immediately played 2. I just played 2, and it didn't matter. It was like
Yeah.
waiting. Like I'll binge season 1 and then jump into season 2.
Yeah. I totally forgot about Desmond Miles. Like he was such an
That's
important.
what they wanted.
He was such an
He was.
important
He-
character in those first 3 games.
Yeah, it was so vital.
Yeah.
In 2. Yeah.
And
That
then they
was the
just
thing
pulled
that-
them off.
It was just-
Yeah.
it was just-
Well, is he? Okay. Well, we'll get to it.
Well,
Okay.
statistically, people didn't care. People didn't
Yeah.
care about the future stuff.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
think
Sucks. I
that's
like
why
the
we
future
have.
stuff.
Hopefully, I would think that's why we have Watch Dogs, because Watch Dogs kind of feels like how are you going to play an assassin game in the future? You can go around stabbing people, but people have guns. And what's your special power going to be? Well, you have hack vision, and you can hack things.
That's true.
So
I
thought that was the whole point.
To be fair, in Watch Dogs, I'm using a little spider bot just to crawl around and electrocute everyone, which I think is hilarious. So let's move over to the next year, 2008. They brought out Assassin's Creed 2, which was the fastest selling new IP. Wait, the follow up to the title that became the fastest selling new IP in video game history. Ooh, this game introduced the new hero Ezio Auditore de Firenze,
Ezio di Auditore de Firenze,
a young Italian noble from the Renaissance, and his popularity spawned two other games, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Assassin's Creed Revelations. Did you guys play all three of these games? I'm going to just go ahead and say, yes, we all did. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
This is the trilogy to beat, and I feel like every other game after it has tried to capture this sort of spark that this character and storyline had.
Yeah.
Well, I think
can't be done.
The unique thing, even though Desmond wasn't really a motivating factor, the relationship between Desmond and all his ancestors was interesting, especially with Revelation. I'm skipping a little bit, but
that's fine.
When he actually addresses Desmond in the future, that gave me chills, because that actually added a real connection, right? And it was amazing because, and this is actually a little more relevant going back to 2, because I started on 2, and you got the introduction to Ezio with that story, and it's all very kind of like melodramatic, but it worked, right? Like the whole political situation, and like his family getting axed, well, some of them, and just being driven into the assassins. It was very it's little kind of predictable, but I liked being him, right? And then with Brotherhood, you got to flex, right? You're creating the order, and then with the third one, that was really interesting because you got to see him in at the end, right? Like you knew he was getting old, right? You could see the gray in his beard, right?
And yet that's when he met his wife.
Yeah.
Right. I know. It was a little bit strange, but I didn't know if he was going to survive that. I honestly, as I played through the game, I was like, I don't know. This actually could be the end. And yeah, when he actually speaks to Desmond, I was like, whoa, this is so meta. So anyway, that memory just popped into my head.
It's such a cool buildup. It's like you've got 10 years of Marvel, then you get Infinity War. But we had, Assassin's Creed 1, and then they did a good job of going hey, 1 still matters. What happened in 1 is going to matter, because that's the whole third game, is Ezio retracing the steps of Altair.
Yes. Yeah, that was creepy to
me.
I
think because you spend so much time with Ezio, you have a huge connection with this character.
Yes.
And he's not only rebuilding the assassin order, he takes on the mantle of his father, and he's trained by his uncle, and all this cool you basically Batman, but you get to kill people, bad people. And by the time, he's also a prodigy. He's supposed to be, before you're even an assassin, you're he's always climbing around Rome or whatever city.
Yeah. He already had those skills.
Climbing. You're okay, so now we have a reason he's a better climber than Altair, plus the tech is better for this game, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you get to the last game, you're he can't climb as well anymore. So he's got this stupid hook assassin thing. So there's all these, the gameplay actually also followed the story. These things enhanced each other, and so few games can make that work properly.
Yeah.
And then by the end, you have this great story with this great character, and you watch him through his whole life.
Yeah.
And then you get the reconcile with the character from the previous game that a lot of people really liked.
Yeah.
There were obviously issues with the first Assassin's Creed because it was, in a lot of people's eyes, a tech demo, but a lot of people spent a lot of time with that game. So you have this amazing payoff with Revelations. So I don't even know how you can go into a game after that.
Well, I feel like it was kind of a perfect product for its time. Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelation, it worked out so perfectly because like you said, Assassin's Creed 1 was kind of like a demo. It's kind of like a proof of concept. This is going to be really great. Now let us improve upon this. And that's when they kind of put all of their eggs into one basket and decided, let's create this amazing story. I feel like they they put all of their thought and richness into storytelling for these stories, but they realized, oh shit, it's too big, so we are going to have to break it up. So they created these separate games that are all kind of connected to the same game, and it was perfect. At that time, it was perfect. But then after that, they're like, well, people who still want more, and we want to keep making money, and we want to keep on making more games and improving the mechanics and the gameplay and the fighting and all that kind of stuff. So at that point, I feel like it just became let's just do a story in this game, and now a story in this game, and now a story in this game. So I feel like it we'll never get the same beautiful trilogy storytelling that we got with like Brotherhood, Revelations and stuff. I don't think we'll get that again. But I also think that's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. I think it was like perfectly done for its time, and we're right in where we need to be with that.
I think the I was just gonna say, I think the current trilogy of Assassin's Creed games are close because of how it's meant to sort of begin the whole, or at least find out the beginnings of the Assassin's Creed order. And I think that's the only thing that's close enough to the Ezio trilogy without it being tied to one assassin.
Yeah, but I still like, to me, they still feel like separate games completely. Like, even though I understand like there's an arcing story that's coming through everything, but they don't have that same. I think it's because in the Ezio trilogy, it's Ezio that we are following, and we care more about that character than Desmond, as opposed to in these new trilogies. It's like, okay, now we're supposed to be caring about what's going on in the real world in the story that they're doing, but instead it's we're watching what's his name from Origins,
Bayek.
Like that was one story, that was his story, and then the next story comes into the Greece Odyssey world and everything, and it's different. It's still that story trying to continue, but to me they're like different separate games. They feel like different games.
I appreciate that Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations added new mechanics every game.
Yes.
And that's what sort of having this character that we really liked, and then having the gameplay advance was good for us as gamers. Like, I know a lot of people that didn't like the tower defense-y type thing that they added, but I thought it was sort of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Marcus brought a good point. Like, the technology allowed for them to evolve and expand it. And I think, like, as far as trilogies go, like David mentioned, like, about Revelation. I think Revelation was maybe a little less strong than the other two.
For sure.
But I still appreciate it for the moments that we were just talking about story-wise. And because, you had that investment of him being a young man, and then a middle-aged man, and then an old man, and then all those connections to Altair, and then to the future. But I think the fact that it was all contained within the life cycle of the PS3, and they were able to release them just fast enough without screwing them up, like we'll be talking about later, and still put something out that was quality. Because even though Revelations, like you said, Eric, like they added a couple new mechanics there, saying, oh yeah, you're meeting the other branch of the assassin, so this is the reason why you've got these new gadgets, right? That's okay. It was just different enough and just familiar enough that it was a nice flow. And
they did mechanics as well, because Brotherhood is the only one where you have an order. Because when he goes to Constantinople in 3, he's like, I got to build the new sect here. So you don't have all the stuff you had in Brotherhood, but you have new gadgets. So what's weird is that Revelations went, we got to not just do the same thing we did. Brotherhood was kind of a grind fest. And for someone like me, I was kind of burnt out by the time I played Revelations, but looking back, I really enjoyed the game. But the idea that, like, let's go back to just doing this stuff, but kind of whatever, like now you have your hook and you can combat's different, but it's not just like when you played Brotherhood, it was fun because you go, oh, there's a bunch of bad guys here, they're all dead. Like that's just like that.
I love that.
They're all
They're
dead. Which makes you feel like a master assassin.
Yeah.
Do you think the popularity of Assassin's Creed 2 happened because they opened it up to PS3 players as well? Like the first game was a Xbox 360 exclusive, and you think it just boomed because
I feel
like PlayStation gamers are more for solo games than Xbox. I feel like Xbox is more like FPS type sports.
Isn't that the Sony brand? Like when people think PlayStation, like old school, they think Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy's, even though it started Nintendo, but Final Fantasy 7. Like so many, like I wasn't even a Final Fantasy 7 kid, or like I was a PS2 God of War kid. That's a single player game.
Yep.
right? Or Jack and Daxter, or any of their other platforms.
Ratchet and Clank. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the last one?
Last of Us.
No. The raccoon. Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper. Oh,
Those
I
are
love
all
those games.
single player games. Or Spyro.
Spyro, yeah, I miss Spyro.
Right? Like I always thought it was funny that people thought of Nintendo as the platformer, and it's like, what? There's 30 platformers on the PS2, and they're all really well known,
and they're all very different, which is really cool.
Yeah. So I think that built into the here's your single player game. You got your PS2, go play your single player games. It only has 2 ports.
Yeah.
That's fair. So after Revelations, we move on to 2012's release of Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed.
Wait.
Oh no, I can't see. 3.
Wait. We need to address the Jack in the Box in the room again.
Yes.
We just skipped over that. So these are awesome, guys. I don't care, if you don't like Jack in the Boxes,
That's
I went out of my
specifically
way.
why I didn't buy the Brotherhood special edition.
I think they look cool.
One of these is from Europe, okay? Because I don't know which one was the one from North America, but I had to freaking get this from overseas, okay? And I love
Does it
them.
play music?
I don't know how they work, honestly. I've purposely left them open because I didn't want to kill the springs. Oh, there's a little key and everything.
Can I quickly mention that Assassin's Creed 2
Don't break it.
has a 91 on Metacritic and Brotherhood has a 90 on Metacritic?
Ooh, really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't
they
even
didn't
look
play
up the
the
scores. I
multiplayer,
should have. So
I put probably over 100 hours into the multiplayer on that. I for sure. I was so into it. Anyway, go ahead. Let's
you would
move
be
on.
one of the only ones that I knew that did that.
Yeah. I know.
So in 2012, we went back into Assassin's Creed, and this time taking you to the American Revolutionary War, a time of civil unrest. A Native American assassin fights to protect his land and people, and he will ignite the flames of a young nation's revolution. This is Connor, who I can't remember his actual name in the game.
I had it.
I had it too, but I forgot to write it down. This game, I remember seeing the demos for it and being like, I love this time. Like, I love the history of this time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just because now I can just sing Hamilton while it's going on. But,
Very
but when this came out, I do love the Civil War, or not the Civil War, the Revolutionary War. And I think it's a cool time and having assassins set through it. And then I played the game. And like, while there were certain aspects that were cool, like, I remember historians saying that, oh my God, Steve, you got the flag too? You got the collector's edition for
The
that.
flag too? See, I can't. You got that thing, man.
I'm going to need you to
That's
leave
amazing.
Canada now.
Yeah, I believe in the Assassin's Nation. I'm Sturgill all the way. I'm Sturgill.
There's a historian I remember talking about the time back then and how America was so full of trees that you could probably walk from one side of the country to the other side without touching the ground. That's how many trees. That's how much forest was there. And I love
Thanks
the fact
to Johnny Appleseed.
The assassin, Johnny Appleseed.
Thanks to this game, though, I was able to just go tree to tree to kill people, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But the rest of the
Yeah.
game, I didn't think Connor was a likable character at all.
Yeah.
All the way through, even at the end when
That's the consensus.
I was just like, oh, I don't like you at
Yeah.
all. I just don't like
I,
you.
I think
But
everybody.
it's all revenge.
I mean,
Yeah.
he kind of had a really hard battle. Like, how do you follow Ezio? You can't.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, that kind of contributed to it. And they didn't make him overly likable as a character throughout the game. Like, there was never enough redeeming qualities that you were like, oh, this guy's great. And really not enough story to really get you to feel like you've known him really at all.
No.
But
Yeah.
what I loved about that game was exactly what you said, Eric. I remember seeing like all the trees and like, it's a new way to get around. It's a new mechanic that I love because the trees and like hiding up in the trees and seeing birds fly by and land and stuff. I loved it all. But that was really that. And I loved the actual coat with the buttons and everything. I thought it looked good. Like the coat looked cool.
Yeah.
But that's it. It was fun. There was cool missions, but
there was a lot of walking and talking in that game.
There's a lot of walking and talking.
So much.
Yeah.
I also like, I don't mind a few, follow this person to listen to what their plans are missions. But as soon as I'd say like maybe 2 in an entire gameplay, I would be okay with. As soon as I have to do that, like every third mission, go fuck yourself.
Oh my God. That
What's
game
weird
is
is that's
so
supposed to
fucking
hide
Franklin.
loading screens, right? And
Yeah.
they just did everything. That was
Yeah.
everything.
It drove me crazy. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
I think what happened was you can't replace Leonardo da Vinci as your best friend and your inventor, and go with like, well, Ben Franklin can make your stuff for you.
Oh, they tried.
Like
Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci, super awesome dude, gets you your second hidden blade.
Yep, that was. Oh,
And they're like, this is
okay.
Ben Franklin.
Flying.
He gives you bats or something. I don't know, like whatever, however he decides to fight.
Were there
Well,
bats
the
in
thing
this?
was-
I'm thinking like, well, it's America, right? They have baseball bats.
Oh, that baseball bat. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I was thinking the
Yeah.
flying bat.
No, not a coronavirus bat.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, before we get off track, I was going to say one thing that really also worked for me with Assassin's Creed 2 and up to 3 as well was the advertising campaigns. There were some fan-made videos that I watched so many times, but the actual trailers for 2 the cinematic trailers for 2 Brotherhood, Revelations, 3 and the audio tracks that they chose for some of these trailers, so good. Like the marketing just really hit it for me. Right now, after that, they're okay, but I do think even up to 3, they had some like just the music choices were just so awesome.
Well, Ubisoft wanted to get into producing movies, was a big part of it, right? That's why things were so cinematic for them.
Yeah.
I will say
those
that
cinematic trailers work even now. Like they're
Also,
so
they
good.
teamed up with Corridor Digital at least once for some dope videos.
Yeah, a couple times.
Actually, that Wood Kid song that they used for Revelations, that trailer, I still think is. I mean, sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
I will say that Assassin's Creed 3 had one of the best DLCs, or at least one of the ones I enjoyed the most, and that's the Tyranny of King Washington, where they took that
Right.
dark
The
turn.
alternate universe.
I thought that was so cool because I like history.
They were supposed to do
Yeah.
more of that, and they kind of
Stuff
did.
like that.
Right?
That actually was like a cool twist to something that we thought was just okay, more plain Jane history stuff that we know about.
Yeah.
And again, being this doesn't work for everybody. I'm sure that their American customers probably loved it all, but like I didn't care about the American Revolutionary War that much, especially at that time. I just didn't care.
I think
Whereas like when I was playing Brotherhood, I was literally learning about Machiavelli and stuff anyway, and I was like, this is fucking cool. Like I just
And Tudors was on
that.
TV at the time, so you're just like,
Yes.
oh my god,
Tudors,
all this is...
Yeah. No, I was going to say with that too, I suspect that maybe after the trilogy of Ezio, maybe the writers, like, I don't know what the evolution of that was, whether they always intended for him to be a character in 3 games or not. But I think I kind of get the feeling that they were like, you know what, we got to do something completely different, which is why they made Connor more dour and they didn't make him as much of a playboy, right? And they thought probably just having all those recognizable American historical figures show up would be enough to carry it, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Connor was just too flat and too much of a downer.
That's
know?
what happens
And I
when you
think
get
you're right.
Canadians to make an American game.
But I think the intention. You're right, Eric. I think they probably, if Connor and the American Revolution setting had like worked, they probably would have kept going. You know.
Oh,
like,
yeah, for
just
sure.
Add more installment.
Now, give me a War of 1812 where I can play as Isaac Brock. That's what I want.
Oh my god, I would be
Nice.
so down.
Yeah.
Dude,
Go
Isaac
down to
Brock is one of
London-
my favorite people in history. I have my freaking Isaac Brock quarter on my desk.
Lundy's Lane. Oh my god, that'd be
Templar.
so cool. I
No,
grew up.
Isaac Brock is for sure an
Falls.
assassin. For
Yeah.
sure an assassin.
Yeah, I could see that.
He was one of the best. I shouldn't go into it. I know too much about this guy.
I understand. I'm from Niagara Falls / St. Catharines, so I grew up with all of that, and I loved it. I didn't care. All right, we're gonna move on to the generation gapping game, which was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag from 2013. And this one, you play as Captain Edward Kenway, and you play alongside famous pirates like Blackbeard, and you're establishing the lawless republic in the Bahamas, and you really relive the explosive events that defined the golden age of pirates. This is all the summary from Ubisoft,
Nice.
so I just wrote them down. This game I got for my PS4, and it was one of the first games I played on PS4, which was amazing.
Yes.
And
yeah, that's true.
and like I loved Edward Kenway. He sort of felt like a not as drunk Jack Sparrow,
Sure.
but still fun. He was a fun character. Everything was sort of lighthearted. It introduced the sailing mechanic, which I love.
boats.
I love that
Yeah.
so much. They got
Don't
singers.
forget the
I
sea
love-
shanties. That's what everybody
That's
loves.
where I was gonna go.
The sea
The sea
shanties.
shanties. They got Canadian singers to do the sea shanties
Hmm.
in Montreal, I believe. As they got a bunch of people. They got dialect coaches so that they would sing it properly. And they released all of these songs as well later, which is amazing. And as a big fan of Great Big Sea, I was very happy to hear Donkey Riding as one of the first songs as I was sailing a ship. And I was just like, nope, this game is for me.
Yeah.
I love it. This is one of my favorites.
I like, for me too, like, especially after the disappointment of Connor.
Yep.
This game really came at a perfect time. And also, like, there are certain historical figures or personas. Pirates are amongst my favorite things in history. I love the idea of pirates, the romanticizing of like these swashbuckling pirates, like Cutthroat Island. I watched that movie so many times. Gina Davis, and like way back in the day, I loved that damn movie.
Oh, I thought you said Temptation Island. My bad.
God, no! What the hell?
Different types of pirates.
different kind of pirate. Yeah. But I loved like all of the water travel. Like, it was a full different version of the game now, and I really appreciated it, and I really liked it. I loved hunting sharks and like whales and stuff like that too.
Yes, forgot about that.
Like, that was a really cool little kind of side quest. I mean, it got kind of repetitive at sometimes, but like when you would find the really rare, like the white whale, like that was awesome.
Damn,
Super
I forgot
cool.
about
And then
that.
I also loved, one of the coolest things in that game was like there was the map, but like there were it was all shadowed out and everything. But like if you went to the corners of the map, like where the water was, whatever, you knew you were gonna find like big ass ships, and you were in trouble if you weren't like fully like ranked up yet. But I loved trying. I loved going to my death and trying.
Yep.
And I just loved that game series and everything. It wasn't perfect, but I did love it.
I tried to play it. Ubisoft gave it away not too long ago, and I tried to play it on my computer. And my computer is obviously more powerful than a PS3 or a PS4 even. And for some reason, I couldn't get it to run right, and it just looked like not great. But it also, to be fair, it's like a 7-year-old game. It was a 5 or 6 year old game at the time, and I'd already played Origins, and I'm like, I don't know if I can.
Oh no! If you've gone to Origins, like even I replayed Black Flag a little while ago, and it doesn't hold up visually. Like. But it's still like, I still love it as a game. Like the actual play of it is still, to me, really amazing, but it didn't visually work out overly well over time.
It's one of those games where I wish I could just download it into my brain, because it's like, I should have played this. Like I should have 100% of this, like, but it's like, now it's, there's obviously issues trying to go back to old games, but also it's like, okay, how long is it going to take me to actually, just even if I wanted to run through this game, 30 hours, maybe
30,
40
does take
hours.
a while.
Yeah, 40.
And it's like, I got a lot of stuff to play right now.
Yeah. 4 was because of the transition. It was interesting to switch over, and of course, I'm one of the only people who was playing all the multiplayer side things in all of these games, and that was kind of like the end for me, because I played so much multiplayer on the side, on top of the actual games. 4 was starting to be like, oh, I gotta like jump around and catch musical notes that are flying away from me to get sea shanties. So I love the ship stuff. I knew, and I'm still waiting for this pirate game that they're supposed to be coming out. That's like all ships, right?
Yep.
I'm like on the list, for this. I never hear anything about it. But anyway, I felt like it was like, okay, well, everyone didn't like Connor, so obviously we got to make a more Ezio character. So Edward, to me, it's just like, okay, make him like a womanizing, drunken pirate, and like right away he's just more appealing. I mean, it's just one of those things. You need to have someone who knows how to have fun, and but it's funny because 3 actually introduced a lot of things that carried over. Like, you're talking about the white whale, right? Like, Assassin's Creed 3 had all like the rare hunting targets as well, and sort of the rare legendary creatures as well. So it kind of started there, but it was implemented in a more fun, more robust way in 4. And also, of course, the change of the locale. I mean, to see those colors, right? The tropical water, never seen anything like that, right? And so, for a game to edge you into 4, PS4, I mean, as well, it was a nice change of pace, but I could feel the age of the game at this point. I didn't think it was different enough from 3 or from Revelations, and so this is where I started to slow down a little bit.
I really did not like the multiplayer in that game. Like, Assassin's Creed 4 did not have good multiplayer. They're running around and assassinating people, sort of trying. It was weird. I remember playing that at or trying out the multiplayer aspect at Fan Expo that year.
Mm.
Yeah, before it came
Mhm.
out, and I didn't like it then, and I didn't like it after I played it. So, but it was my chance to play a PS4 before it came out, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Then the next year, 2014, we got Assassin's Creed Rogue for the PS3 for some reason.
Yeah, it was actually at the same time. That was really stupid. They
No,
should have
no,
actually.
it was at the same time as Unity, not as 4.
It came out
Was
on
it?
both the PS3 and 360 on November 11th, 2014.
All right.
Yeah, so it's the
Yeah,
one that
they
came out with
screwed up there,
Unity.
though.
Yeah.
And March
Yeah, they
10th,
screwed up. They should have split them.
2015 on PC.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Yeah, it came out on
or a year
PC
later on
after
PC.
and on PS4 many years later.
Yes.
Rogue actually took place in the 18th century during the 7 Years' War, and it follows Shay Patrick Cormac, who was an assassin that turned Templar, and he ended up hunting former members of the Brotherhood that betrayed him. I never played this game because it was on PS3. I wish I did.
Yeah.
I started playing it and I was instantly kind of like bored of it because I had already played Black Flag on my PS4 and this seemed kind of like a downgrade. So I was like, nah. So I played it for a little bit. I think I played it at my cousin's house and then I pretty much, it was just like, I'm done with this. That was like, I did not finish Rogue.
It's unfortunate.
I keep waiting for a really good deal on it for the PS4 version, and of course now PS5's coming out, so I'm probably gonna miss it because it's never been quite on sale at the value I want to pay for. But I've heard Rogue was very good. Like the story part was very good because it took the story in a different direction and it actually connects to a lot of characters. And I just for the same reason we all missed it because it was one system behind. And it was a little long in the tooth, and it's too bad.
I think they released it for free on PC a number of years ago. I still haven't played it. Dave, did you play this game?
No, I remember I was big into like Achievement Hunter and stuff at the time, and Jack Patillo is just an Assassin's Creed fan. Like he loves every Assassin's Creed. So I remember him he wouldn't shut up about it. I'm like, man, I should play this game, but I don't want to be I was just like, I don't want to be a Templar. That's it. That's the only reason. It's I don't want to be a bad guy.
Yeah, I was all about that.
To be, the setting sounds kind of fun. It sounds because it's pre-American Civil War, right? Or is it not Civil War? Pre-American, or is it after the Revolution?
It's
before American Revolution.
So I'm like, that sounds like
because of characters,
like a fun time. And it had supposedly fixed a lot of the issues that it had with 3, and even Black Flag. But I was like, by this point, at this time, I was like entirely off Assassin's Creed because of 3. Like I skipped 4. Like basically, I should have just skipped 3, and I tried 3, and I'm like, oh no. So that pushed me off of 4, which I should have played, and then this one, which I should have played, and then skipped Unity.
Yeah.
Speaking of Unity,
this is this is where they bleeding into Unity. I mean, with Rogue and 4, and then Unity right like on the tails of Rogue. This is where the machine that was like churning these games out had finally collapsed. And anyway, so go ahead, Erica.
This is actually when me and Steve started playing video games around 2014. Good Lord. And Assassin's
little guillotine.
That's hilarious. Assassin's Creed Unity came out, and this is set in France. And you play as Arnaud and experience the French Revolution. You get to storm Bastilles, and you get to see.
You start the game in the Bastille.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah. And then there's a bunch of like historical events, like the execution of King Louis XVI. Yeah. And then you help France do some stuff. I never beat this game because this game was broken as shit. Broken as shit on PS4. And
I think we can skip this.
I wanted to play with
Arnaud
people.
was going to be a new Ezio. I thought, this guy looks charismatic. He's very stylish.
I was hoping for the best, and it just didn't deliver.
No. I don't know why I bought this game.
I also feel like, I'm not sure if like any of you guys felt it, but like when I played Unity, I felt like, where's the progression? Where's the new mechanic or I was expecting them to try to like.
This is the one that they were like, oh, you can run through every house, but you couldn't.
Yes.
You could not.
That was bullshit. I could hop a fence.
There is one major benefit to this game, and that is because the fire at Notre Dame. Or I should say, in spite of the fire at Notre Dame, this game mapped Notre Dame so well, they're using the files from this game to help rebuild it.
So that's both true and false. There's only certain aspects of that scan that they can use.
Good enough.
Yeah, but
good enough.
But they did offer it. they offered it, and I don't know if they actually did take them up on it. There has been no. update
Ubisoft
on
also donated like $1 million
it.
immediately.
They did that, yeah, because they're a French company, so
So yeah, by this point I was totally burnt out. I was not completing a lot of the games. I do also have like the boxes for the last few games. They're at another house, so I actually do have the Unity one. But it's kind of funny. I did actually finish Unity. It was a slog. But I like the setting.
Going through it.
I like the sledding, and I love the setting, and I kept trying to like finish it. I never did complete everything, but I don't know. I actually kind of like the characters, and yeah, it wasn't a great story. I mean, he falls in love with a Templar, in case you guys don't know. So this is a bit of like
he's raised by a Templar, right? Like
he's raised by a Templar.
Because
yeah,
his father is an assassin killed, and then the guy who adopts him is a Templar, and that guy's daughter is the guy the woman he falls in love with, right?
Now, I can we do a minor spoiler just so we can
go for it, man. That's the game is
Go
5 years old.
5-year-old game.
Rogue. So this was where it all connected. Rogue, was it Shay Patrick McCormick?
Shay Patrick Cormac.
Cormac, sorry. He connects with Hatham Connor, and is one of the people who convinces Hatham to switch sides, which is why Hatham becomes a bastard, and then later, has to be. Wait, I'm getting the names mixed up. Anyway,
the thing is, you have to care about those characters.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
I know. But there's a little cutscene at the end of Rogue where Hatham murders Arno's father, and that's where it's Hatham who murders his father. This is where it all ties together. But anyway, because Hatham like has to get to France for some reason, and they're like looking at the watches and
for plot.
Anyway, it
doesn't
doesn't
get there for plot.
Yeah, for plot. Yeah, it's like I've got a plot point here. People are gonna really care about this. Nobody cared. But
you might be the only human who didn't work at Ubisoft who knows that.
I know. Unity at the very least changed the policies at Ubisoft, and they said, yeah, we screwed up. We admit it, and we're going to slow down our production schedule, and they did. And
did they really? Not really.
That's weird because the DLC for Unity came out the same year Syndicate came out.
Yeah. Well, no, that was already kind of baked in, I think. I think they kind of improved a little bit, and then like recently, it's getting bad again. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. After Unity, they said they were going to slow down their schedule, and that's why Syndicate was the last one before Origins, like a couple years later.
Yeah, and then there's a bit of a gap there. Yeah.
So
anyway, I just wanted to say it's unpopular opinion. I was actually okay with Unity. It was a mess when it came out, and the story's very rote. But I actually finished it, and I actually liked it. So, yeah, not popular.
Well, speaking of popular, Assassin's Creed Syndicate came out in 2015, and it's actually one of the more popular ones.
Yeah, it's better.
This one was set in good old England, and features the brash and rebellious Jacob Fry and Evie Fry, and they sort of take on all of these like gangs of London, and
it's a London gang, is it?
It is.
Yeah.
You sound like you're from London.
You sound like you're from London.
This game is actually really fun. I love this game because it made me feel like Batman with the grapple gun.
Yeah. That one also, mechanic.
This was the first game where we were introduced to the idea of like the brother sister thing. So you could you were
pick
a female assassin and a male assassin.
Yeah.
And and like video games, female assassins have better voice actors than the male ones.
Yes.
True. Very true. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Yeah, no. The grappling hook, it's such a minor thing, but it was a real pain to get around Paris. The verticality of Paris was really, really annoying. And the grappling hook alone made London like so much more fun to like move around.
Let's say the trains.
It's really silly. And
the trains. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, Syndicate, honestly, I think was a good way to end what I would say is the previous block of Assassin's Creed games, because the new ones are very, very different, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, they tried their best to innovate a lot of things, but it ended up being fun. And I actually never finished it. I feel kind of bad. I just got really into the side quests. Like I love the fisticuffs on the boats, and like
that was honestly that was my favorite thing.
Yeah.
That was my favorite thing in Syndicate, was to like bare knuckle box and just like beat the shit out of people. Like I loved that so much.
I love the little riots you could do. Like that was so
Yeah,
much
where
fun.
you could just fucking push somebody and to walk away and be like, "This is gonna be fucking great."
My people will do it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you play this game, Dave? Or did you not play until Origins? Was that
So once I realized they were going to keep hopping around and not just do Ezio, I was like, okay, I'm only going to buy AC games that are time periods that interest me.
Fair
Because 3, I had no interest in the American War of Revolution. The French Revolution was a little interesting, and I did buy Unity, and then I probably played it for 10 hours and got rid of it. And then I went, I don't know, like Age of Steam UK. No thanks, I'm good.
fair?
So
Fair.
I just didn't.
Fair
I
enough.
didn't. I didn't even look at. I didn't look at any media. I know nothing about Syndicate.
It was
Nothing.
great. And it led us to a 2-year gap before we got to Assassin's Creed Origins, which was 2017's Assassin's Creed game. And this one uncovers the beginnings of the Brotherhood, set in ancient Egypt. And you play as Bayek. Was this the first one with the new future person? Or did they come in
I think
earlier?
so. Yeah. It's
Yes,
a young
yes, it
woman.
is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sasan. Yeah. Layla or
Layla. Yeah, Layla.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually quite. I like her. She's sort
Got
of
me
a
on
nerdy
my
person.
knees, Layla.
So Assassin's Creed, you fight epic battles. They revamped so many things in this game, like the combat and the leveling up, and it just you got to go through Egypt. And this is the first game that they added the educational mode where you can just go to different spots and learn
that's
about
very
it.
that was cool.
That's
Which
very cool.
and it was free to educators, so you could just like. I know
This-
teachers that
I
use
bel-
it, which is cool.
I believe this was also the Assassin's Creed where they introduced that leveling thing where like they kind of keep you within like 4 points of any level of any other person, which is fair because I used to go to places with level 3 people as I was like level 40 and just slaughter them kind
I
of thing.
love that though, because I felt
But
like a
so did I.
god.
To this day, this is something I wish Ubisoft, if you can listen and hear this, I want you to fucking give us a mode where we can just turn that off. Because God, I would love to just like in Odyssey, I want to go back to like some of the original islands or something and just
That first
own it.
island, yes.
Yeah.
You
Totally
kind of like because you
noobs.
kind of had that in AC2 and whatnot because you would just buy like
You could do
your
it-
armor's a little bit
Yeah.
like there was progression, but it wasn't leveling, right?
yes,
Because you could just pick up whatever weapon you want, like you can in the newer games as well. But that's actually what kind of turned me off of Origins. I was like, why can't I just play this like an Assassin's Creed game? Just like almost like a Batman Arkham game or a Castlevania. Like you just pick up new gear and then you have new abilities, not well, you're gonna need a level 6 rapier, because without the level 6 rapier, you're not gonna be able to defeat the level 12. But and I was like, I don't want to do math. I'm not playing like this is more complicated than D&D.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually more complicated than that. I just want to play the game and not like, well, my mission's here, but just next to my mission, there's a crocodile that's 17 levels higher than me. And if I get within, it just eats me and then I'm screwed. Now Marcus is me and
Oh,
Steve
crap.
is Marcus
That's okay.
and I'm Steve. Okay. So I really like Origins. I love the characters. I loved the idea, like everything about it except that part of the gameplay, which is so
That's
weird
fair.
because but that's what you have to do to get all the other awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna end up watching the movie. Like if you go on YouTube and you just look up like whatever the movie,
Sure, yes.
because I own it. I own it on PS4 and I own it on PC.
Yeah.
It came with my Yeti, my microphone.
Mm.
Good deal.
If Yeti wants to sponsor a podcast,
They don't care.
they don't care. This
They're
is
rolling
actually
in that COVID money.
it's true. This is the first Assassin's Creed in a long time that I was like super into the historical setting, like
Right.
like full on. I would just explore because I wanted to know about it, especially
Oh,
since
yeah.
they
Right.
had Alexandria there and they had the lighthouse and the library and everything. I just wanted to go everywhere here. This was a
Yeah.
game that I just loved exploring.
Mm.
Play it,
Nice.
Steve.
Yeah, I know. So as I was saying, I fell off with Syndicate, and what David said was very true for me. I actually wasn't that interested in Egypt. I was like, okay, I need a break anyway. So it was good that they took a little bit of time, and I had full confidence. I was looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? this is going to be good because they've completely changed how it works and everything. And then I just never played it, you know. And then and then the next one.
There was a fatigue. I remember we were talking about this after we saw the Assassin's Creed movie the year prior in 2016.
Sure.
And we weren't sure if we were going to play Origins because
Yep.
we were sort of tired of the whole Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
thing. I ended up playing it because I like Egypt, but
Yep.
I like you said, you weren't.
Well,
interested.
it's like what David said a few times already. Like I look at an Assassin's Creed game, and I have to say, even for the new one coming up, that's like 50 to 100 hours of my life. You know, like that's the first thing I think. You know, and I'm
But
like, oh.
the new one is 50 to 100 hours of you raiding towns with a cat.
Okay, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We gotta finish.
Yeah, we
the
got to
Egypt
finish
one
this
first.
game before we go to the next two games.
Anyone else love Origins? I love the DLC for this game as well because
Yeah, I was just gonna say the gods, like the fighting the gods was the coolest thing.
that was
I
so
love that.
unexpected. I did not.
Yeah, and I was like, I got so excited by that because like as soon as I saw that, like it just added another element. Like I loved all the historical stuff. I loved the world that they created, but I always thought to myself, I'm like, I want some kind of crazy boss battle where it's just like epic fighting or something. And then they brought in these giant glowing gods shooting fire at you and stuff.
Holy
Like
crap.
it was easy to kind of learn how to avoid and fight them, but
Yeah.
it was also just an amazing mechanic, and it was just an amazing thing to see. And I just loved the art direction of them and everything, and the fact that you had to like run out to the middle of nowhere to find them and fight them. And originally, like you had to wait like certain times, like you could fight one god and then you wouldn't be able to fight anybody for like a couple days in the game or whatever. So you'd have to wait for that time clock to go through, and then you could, oh, there's one off in this desert, and you'd have to get to that desert before. Like that was awesome. I loved that.
And there would be
and
community
then-
rewards for doing that. If you beat them and all the other people beat them, you'd get a certain thing.
Like the armored pieces, like when I got the Anubis mask, the first Anubis mask, I was so happy.
Yeah.
I've since sculpted an Anubis mask that I want to still cast, because to me it is still my favorite item that I've ever gotten in an Assassin's Creed game for something to wear.
Nice.
Until Odyssey, actually, Odyssey's got a few really good ones.
Yeah, there are some really good ones. With this start of a new trilogy of games, we got Assassin's Creed Odyssey in 2018, and this was set in Greek times, and you followed two heroes again. I can't remember the other one, but Cassandra is one of the one, and that's the one I played.
Alexios or something?
Alexios, you're right.
I was trying to fight this in my head.
And they actually play off each other in the game after you pick either male or female to play, which is really cool. And this game was so big. Like the map is just giant. And you'd think you just, like when you first look at it, you're like, oh, there's just this little area. And then you get to fight the Spartans and all that. And then you realize that that's only a portion of the map. You back up and you just keep backing up. And it just seems like it never ends. It just never ends. That map is giant.
It's huge.
I love the game though. I thought it was cool. It was the most. I remember playing this for the first time and messaging Marcus here and being like, "This game is prettier than Origins. How is this possible? How is this game the prettiest
it's because
game
they
I've
added
played?"
flowers.
And flowers and grass and trees.
They don't have flowers in
grass.
Egypt.
Yeah, it's just sand.
It's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere.
But before anything even happened with this game, I
One
knew
episode,
I was going to be like absolutely loving it, because one of the things I loved with Origins was that the god fights. And as soon as they're like, it's ancient Greece, and you saw the giant statues of Poseidon and stuff, I'm like, well, you know there's going to be gods. You know there's going to be mythical creatures. And I was not disappointed.
The DLC was so good.
You got to go fight the Minotaur. Okay. Like I loved that. The Gorgon fight, like all of them, amazing. So that really won me over huge with that game.
They also sort of bookended. I don't want to say bookended. They sort of one of the driving story points of the game is following King Leonidas from 300, his story through the game, and you find out the connections between you and King Leonidas and stuff. It's such it plays off all the fucking nerdiest things that I love, and like,
nice.
and they're designed like the people from 300. Like,
Yeah.
they're not very accurate, but they're accurate to the movie.
Frank Miller's still waiting for his check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this game was amazing, and just again exploring this because it was so big was beautiful. And then they have those epic animals that you had to hunt, which was also quite good. This game was just so good, although maybe a little too big. I think that's the only real thing I had with it. It was just so big.
Stupid
I'm pretty
overpacked
sure-
Ubisoft games. Stupid value.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure I
true.
have not
It's true.
seen all of that game.
I will
There's no
guarantee
way.
you that I've not at all.
Yeah. That's definitely a 50-hour game. I know that.
Oh,
for a
it's
fact.
way more.
Yeah.
Way more.
I think it took me like 60 hours to beat.
Sure. Sure.
Like just the story.
Yeah, Odyssey is more a setting I find it a little more appealing than Egypt. So I was going to jump in on it, but as a thing, it's such a big investment, and there's just been a lot of other good games at the same time that I wanted to jump in Odyssey. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to split the time, like if I'm going to play Odyssey, I got to play it, right? So again, I've missed it, and so I want to play Odyssey. That one I'm
I will
I'm
say
in on.
I will say it's worth the time, I think.
Like,
Yeah,
should I
sure,
play
sure.
Odyssey and Origins or one marathon game of Civ? Like it's kind of hard to.
One more turn.
Turns are so long. Oh my god, Civ.
I played like 3 games of Civ, and I think I have 77 hours.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is why I haven't picked up Civ.
Odyssey is so good. I will say,
Yeah.
apparently this is one of the games that will run really good on the PS5. So if you do get
Oh,
it,
I
okay.
believe it.
play it on PS5.
All right, no, I own. This is the thing. I own all these games that I haven't played, except for
Play the
Rogue.
game.
The only one I don't have. So I have Origins, and I have all the DLC for Origins and Odyssey. I haven't touched them.
You can probably
So
skip
bad.
Origins at this point. Just play Odyssey and then
Sure.
play the game that's coming out in 40 minutes, which is Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
40 minutes.
40
Dave.
minutes.
Wow.
and then you will see me on stream
my
again.
God.
Now,
I want to play Odyssey, but I haven't beat Origins, and like the Greeks are like some of my, like just historically, I'm
Yeah.
like these people fascinate me.
Yeah.
It's way more than Egyptians. But the problem I was like, wait a minute, Assassin's Creed Origins, 48 BC or whatever, 43 BC, and they went, we're gonna go back further.
Yeah.
To what? What does this have to do with Assassins?
Okay, so Odyssey.
Not be called Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
I
Free
wish they would
Assassins.
kind of just do, because I'm so tied. Like Ezio's my boy. That's why I can't let go. I can't play other Assassins. This is my dude. I can't let go from, because I was like 17, 18, 19 when those games came out. Now I just can't. It doesn't feel right to me. I'm like, this isn't Assassin's Creed. This is something totally different.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey has no assassins.
Yeah,
in it.
there actually
So,
are no
that's the
Assassins.
thing. Well, because they didn't
there
exist.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? They don't exist.
The spear
Yes,
is what
that is correct.
the spear
I'm
is what
hoping they
starts
just
it.
drop it and just call them Creed, and then the whole soundtrack's provided by Creed. I'm hoping
With
that's what we get
arms
to.
wide open.
I'm 6 feet from the earth and how you know.
Were we playing Among Us and singing that?
Yes, we
Oh
were.
my
That was Joe
God.
Smudley's fault.
Speaking of Among Us, we should definitely play that again.
Yes.
So Assassin's Creed Valhalla is set in Viking times, and you play as Ivor.
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 Ivor. Yeah,
And
Ivor.
I don't know. Is that's the guy name? I don't know who the girl name is.
It's
I think
also
it's
Ivor.
both.
Is it both Ivor?
It's-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
they're both Ivors.
it's whatever the word I'm looking for.
Gender neutral. The name.
Yes.
That's cool.
It's from Proto-Norse, which means basically good luck. Which, can I have a quick gripe about that?
Okay.
Because in Assassin's Creed, every main character's name was supposed to mean eagle. Ezio,
Oh, sure.
Altair, and I think Arno even does, but they just kind of threw that out the window at some point.
Yeah.
And they were like, screw it, because it was, the whole eagle vision thing. And now they call it eagle vision, but it's not, whatever.
Yeah.
But you have a raven because you're
Well,
a Norse
ravens
now.
are more important, to Norse people than eagles.
I'm pretty
so.
sure an eagle would mess up a raven. But whatever, so they kind of
They're
threw that out.
Odin's
But yeah,
ravens.
either way, you're Ivor. It doesn't really matter.
Odin's
because
Ravens. Yeah.
women were treated much better. Also, these technically probably aren't Vikings.
We will find out.
Oh
They-
yeah,
they-
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
That gets
Yeah,
complicated.
because what we call Vikings are not
Yeah.
usually actually Vikings.
I
Yeah,
wonder. They usually
historically.
Ubisoft is generally good with doing their research in these games. So I wonder.
All the
We're-
YouTubers I
we're
watch who
calling
do
them-
HEMA are like, these aren't Vikings, but also Jackson Crawford, I think, which is the Old Norse specialist
Mhm.
who helped with like God of War and stuff like that. I think he had a hand in this game. So I'm sure there's a lot of historically accurate things like all Ubisoft games, but also the fact that like there's also things that aren't.
Mhm, mhm.
Like there
Well,
always
we're
are.
the ones calling it the Viking game, so it might be our mistake. Like I think the game
I
is
think
probably
it'd
whatever
be
they're
accurate to
supposed
call
to be.
them Norse, or
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think they're
yeah.
actually from Norway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Because technically the word Viking is misrepresented, and
Yeah, it's
people
an
think it's like,
acronym.
oh,
Right.
like they're all Vikings. It's like, no, Vikings
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
people. Viking is what they did.
it was a job. Basically.
It was a job. Like
Yeah.
I'm going on a Viking. Like that was their thing to
Yeah.
do.
Huh.
So it's like it's kind of a weird misrepresentation that
The
everybody's
more
like,
you
oh, Viking,
know.
yeah.
Like you're right to call people Spartans, but you're not right to call like. But what were Spartans? Well, they were warriors. So what are these guys? Well, they're warriors from Norway.
That's fair.
So we should call them Norse. Probably is the most accurate thing.
So since none of us have played this game, who's gonna play it? Me, Marcus.
I'll probably get it eventually.
Yeah.
Now, Eric, I'm assuming you bought the PS4 and you're just going to upgrade it to the PS5 one.
No, I have it on PC.
Yes.
Oh, you got
Yeah,
PC.
yeah.
Okay.
He went straight for
Okay.
PC. Yeah.
I think I'm doing the PS4 and then just upgrading to the PS5 one because it's a free upgrade.
Yeah.
So I get both.
Why not?
I'm hoping we have because we should let's just get cross platform at this point. Come on, like everything should.
I
be
would
cross-
love to
Also,
just
this
buy a
game is
license and then
multiplayer,
play it wherever I wanted to.
That's
Like,
true.
what I
Sure,
want.
sure.
I'll play it on Stadia if I
true.
want to. Damn.
Yeah, I'll do what I want.
What?
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
No. I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I I'm so far behind now, so I don't know what to do. I'll probably do Odyssey first, but on the PS5, But with this one, it's like,
You're not gonna play it on Stadia?
no.
I
that's
love
an Eric
Stadia.
thing. I see what you've
I am
done,
a
David.
Stadia stan.
I forgot what I was gonna talk about now, so it's fine.
What I was gonna say
going.
is what people should do. The publisher should go. Our game is $60, whatever, right? And then you want to play it on
80.
PS4. Here's the licensing fee that Sony charges us. So if you want it on PC, guess what? It's $60. And then you go, well, you want to play it on PS4? You got to pay Sony their due, but you can play it on PS4. You own the license. What do you want to play it on? And then certain things will be free. Like PC is just, well, it's free. It's on PC. But if you want to play it on PS4, pay Sony their due. Now you can take everything you have over there because it's not like the Ubisoft servers care.
Mhm.
It's the same servers.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you want to take it on Xbox? We'll take it on Xbox. Like, just you want
I
to play
would
it on Switch?
100%
Whatever.
be down with that.
Who
um,
like everybody gets what they want too.
So
They get their money.
the cool thing about Uplay Plus, which I'm not endorsing it, it's just something that I have right now, is that it's a subscription service where you can download all these games from the Ubisoft library on your PC for $20 a month. But what they're doing is that all these games, like they've just started this year, now have cloud saves. So if you want to play
Okay.
this on Stadia, where Uplay Plus is going to go, you can just
Where it's
play
meant
it
to
there.
be played,
You
obviously.
can play it there as well. So, yeah, the cloud. Yeah,
Cloud, yeah.
yeah, but you can play it anywhere. So that's awesome. Like if I end up buying it in one spot, I can just play it everywhere I go. Like it's just
That's cool.
It makes sense, especially with
Yeah.
Uplay Plus. Before we get into the shits and giggles part of this podcast, which is the movie, Assassin's Creed movie. What is I think it's fair to say that most of us would say Assassin's Creed 2 is our favorite game of the series. Would it?
Yeah.
I think
I think-
Brotherhood
yeah.
is technically mine
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
you were in
it's
Rome,
between-
get to go to the Colosseum and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, two and
I-
I feel like they're so inextricably linked.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree.
Well,
with
it's the same villains, right? Like that's another thing. You
The
don't get
Borgia,
very many.
yeah.
Yeah. You don't get too many games where like they actually survived,
Well, like,
and they get to
I
deal with
actually
them
feel
again.
like 2 is in some ways comparable, not to the end of the first original Star Wars trilogy, but the first 2 films, where it's like you kind of rise up and you get to destroy the Death Star
Rise
sort of
up.
thing, and you don't kill the villain at the end of, like, Darth Vader lives in Star Wars, and so does Caesar Borgia at the end of Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah.
And then Brotherhood is when you killed the Pope. Spoiler.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that. Oh damn! I
And
forgot.
that's when, but it's so instead of having that dark moment where Luke loses his hand and then falls down 10,000 feet, you're like, I killed the goddamn Pope. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What is the end of that game is insane.
Yeah.
But it's such
Yeah.
a high note, and then 3 is kind of like this more. It's not
Yes.
entirely silly, but Ezio's slowing down and stuff like that.
Fair.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like people like Return of the Jedi, but they don't love it. People love Empire and people love Brotherhood and ACT, but no, most people don't love Jedi. Maybe when they're kids, but as they get older, they go, you know what? It is pretty silly.
So yeah,
That's my
Brotherhood
theory.
is my favorite. Yeah.
That's really well done. Fair. All right. We'll just do a quick thing about the movie because it came out in 2016 and it was really hyped up because it had a really good director and a really good cast. And then the movie came out and it's super underperformed. Didn't even make up the cost of production, which is unfortunate.
Yikes.
But like the reviews were all right. People were confused because there was a lot of history sort of sewn into it that Assassin's Creed fans knew already, and they didn't fully.
Assassin's Creed fans were ready for the movie.
Yeah,
People weren't.
no. What did you guys think of this film? Personally, I loved this film. I thought it was awesome. There are some issues, obviously. I thought the ending was sort of weak, and it felt like the ending should have happened midway through the movie and then continued. But that movie definitely felt like we're definitely gonna have sequels, guys. You know we are.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was a decent movie. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. And I mean, I liked it enough that I have a Callum statue at home that I'm happy to display. Like,
Nice. I like.
Cool.
I kind of couldn't do it. I couldn't watch it. I kind of had it on another screen and I would that looks all right. But I think it always goes back to the Ezio trilogy. We're so spoiled with the just layering in of Italian all of a sudden, the fake Italian accent from Roger Craig Smith. And then you watch this film, it's like, why is everybody British? They're supposed to be Spanish. So why is everybody talking like they're British? Except for that one person who's French, Marion Cotillard, right?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like Jeremy Irons, like, okay, great cast, but every other Assassin's Creed game's done a pretty good job of making them feel like they're from where they are. And this film was like, I was like, I can't, like, it doesn't feel like Assassin's Creed to me.
Yeah.
So I'm
The
the Debbie Downer here. It's fine.
No. Yeah, it's hard for me to fault the movie, but I mean, the overall impact it's very mediocre. And I think what Eric said is true. I think it didn't end quite right. I think if it had somehow been a little bit tighter and more focused towards the end, I feel like it almost kind of ended twice. Like it's one of those movies where it just kind of like it went on an extra 10 minutes, not even 20 minutes too long. And it's a shame. It's a shame. But I mean, it's a problem, right? Like, how do you tell like a very convoluted video game story in 2 hours? And I don't know. It's
You don't.
Yeah.
You tell a different story.
Well,
Well,
luckily
we'll
we
see.
have the
Keep
live
trying.
action series coming out, so hopefully.
Yeah. So
that'll
maybe
do
that'll
it.
actually do some good stuff.
What did you guys think of the Animus? One last thing, because it had that spine thing and it sort of like threw them all over the place. No,
I didn't like that.
Yeah, that seemed like a like the
Gimmick.
90s when they were trying to like sanitize comic book stuff for audiences. That felt like we gotta make this like for people who don't care about video games believe what's happening, and it was a little bit too much.
In the words of Blade, some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. Like just do the thing. Like what was wrong with the thing they had? It was cool. We've seen The Matrix. What was the worst thing that was going to happen? Oh, this movie's like The Matrix. That's cool.
Exactly.
Worked
Like,
in
that's the thing.
Avatar.
The Animus was the Matrix, and then they kind of like went like, what if we did like a holodeck thing plus the Matrix and then combine them so they're on cranes? Like that's amazing. It's like no, it begs the question of what's happening on both ends of this.
That's hilarious. So if the director of that movie was Justin Kurzel, and if you want to see a good movie with him, Michael Fassbender, and Marion Cotillard, go see his 2015 film Macbeth, which was amazing. And that's
in the original Scottish.
Yeah, and and Michael Fassbender
That's
actually
cool.
got him to do Assassin's Creed because he was such a big fan of him as a director. So he's like, "Come aboard this that I've been producing for years and years."
Yeah.
Anywho, Assassin's Creed is coming out in 30 minutes. I'm excited, and I will definitely jump on once after I do my chores, because I got to do my chores first. And yeah, thank you guys for coming on and talking about Assassin's Creed. It's a long thing to talk about.
Can I bring up one last thing?
Yeah, for sure.
When is Skull and Bones coming out?
So
yeah, that's what I was talking about.
I want it.
So
I want it.
Skull and Bones, they announced just a couple months ago that they are revamping it and redoing it. So
Yeah, it
They-
was supposed to be for the PS4 and Xbox One.
yeah, so they said that they're not going to release any new info until after May of next year, I believe, something like that.
I
I
suspect
want it.
that they
I
took
want
the
it.
sailing mechanic from 4 and they said we could do a whole game around this, and then they played it and they were like, "There's no game."
Yeah.
So
But it works
that's what
for
they're
Sea of
doing.
Thieves.
They probably saw
That's the
Sea of
thing.
Thieves, and then
but
we're
that's
like, we need to
why.
change our things.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
just
it's
release
like-
it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I care. I
they
want
just
it
didn't
to
want
be good.
duplicate it.
I just want multiplayer. I just want multiplayer games like the single player games that I like. That's what I want. Why can't you and I be assassins together? Why can't we?
They
do
tried that with Unity. It was not good.
Yeah.
Unity didn't really have
Yeah.
multiplayer. Not. It didn't work right
No,
because
it
that
didn't.
was
They
also
had,
when
they
Far
had
Cry.
a co-op mode.
Yeah, but that's when like Far Cry 4 was like try our co-op, and it's like it's cool, but you don't
But
get any
yeah.
progression.
Yeah,
Far
it's
Cry
a fake.
5 was perfect because you both get full progression
Yeah, I
when
like
you
that too.
play that game together. That's
Yeah,
what
it's-
we need.
It's weird they can't. Yeah, it took them so long to nail that down.
Well,
So Eric, are we gonna do like a showing off our like a geek thing another time or
another
what's
time,
happening?
because
Yeah.
we're gonna have our PS5 review, or at least our first impressions after. It's
Right.
probably later this week. I want to do sometime before the new year, our favorite games of the PS4 generation, because we're not going back to it.
And why is it God of War?
And why is it God of War? God of War is amazing.
Fair enough.
Spider-Man. There's a lot of games on there. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
all bring our top 5 games, and then we'll fight it
Yeah.
out.
That's tough.
We'll duke it out. See who it's.
It's
I'm
Mass
just
Effect
gonna talk
Andromeda, guys. Mass Effect Andromeda.
No. It's Anthem and Avengers right away.
Anthem,
Top 2
Anthem.
right there.
Ugh. Anthem
I'm
had
trying to
one
think of
good
another
thing.
game that failed that bad.
One good thing.
Fallout
Anthem did.
76.
Fallout. Ah, you beat me to it.
Damn.
Damn it.
I can't even think of anything else right now. That's depressing.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we just burned our brains.
thank you guys for coming on and talking about Assassin's Creed, one of my favorite franchises. I look forward to
Mhm.
hearing what you guys think about Valhalla. Marcus, maybe we'll have a chat later once we start playing it.
I can't wait.
I encourage everyone else on this panel to come and play that game if it's good. But
25 minutes.
I heard that this is the best of the series, so that's what
okay.
the initial reviews are. So that's a high bar to set, especially to David, who's sitting there thinking, my boy's behind me.
Ezio, my baby boy.
Well, as long as Ezio shows up in the Norse times, we're fine for David. I mean,
He's about 600 years
I was
off.
like, I don't think that's
we'll
gonna work.
figure out a way.
Yeah, there's always a way. Maybe the assassins will go back and see past assassins, sort of like the Avatar does in The Last Airbender. Anyway, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you all for listening and coming and talking to us and chatting with us live. You can find us on the internets. It's all in the post roll if you're listening to this in podcast form. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for listening. We shall see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thanks, everybody.
That was awesome.
Well, that's it for us this week on Geeks with Kids. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at podcast@geekswithkids.ca. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekswithkids. Follow us on Twitter at geekswithkidscn. Check out our pics on Instagram at geekswithkids. And you can find all of this good stuff on our website at www.geekswithkids.ca. So if you like what you hear, why don't you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.